This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Oh, I'm back, and we're about to do a whole review of Wrestlemania 1 on FlashBack Wrestling. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it right after this. Oh, yeah. I thank you all for joining me as we talk about FlashBack Wrestling here, right on the Value Wrestling YouTube channel. We're going to talk about WrestleMania 1. But welcome to FlashBack Wrestling. I'm the big time. This is where we're going to review old wrestling events, whatever it may be. We're going to get down and we're going to talk about it. And I figured, why not start where all premium live events, where all pay-per-views seem to kind of start, when Vince McMahon bet all the money he had, put it all down, and put WWF on the map, changed the landscape of professional wrestling, when he brought us WrestleMania 1 live from Madison Square Gardens in New York. What an event. You could either be there in the capacity of the audience, which was over 20,000 people, or you could watch around the world, or watch around in different theaters through TV feeds, which made it the first quote-unquote pay-per-view live event. Anyways, WrestleMania 1 was live in Madison Square Gardens. We had on commentary your legendary Gorilla Monsoon and, of course, Jesse the Abate Ventura. A great team, great duo to do this event. You got to love their back and forth. It was great with them talking about it, discussing everything, telling us what was going down. It was a great time hearing Gorilla Monsoon once again. It's been a long time hearing his voice. Always love Gorilla Monsoon. And, of course, Jesse the Abate Ventura brings a whole different level to the play-by-play commentary team. Anyways, we opened WrestleMania 1 with Mean Gene Okerlund singing the national anthem, and you might think that would have gone bad, but it was not too bad. He did a great job with what they had, and it was very interesting to see Mean Gene Okerlund sing the national anthem. Our opening bout for WrestleMania 1, two names that forever get to go down in the legends of wrestling. They get to go down in the Halls of Fame because they were the men that opened WrestleMania 1. None other than Tito Santana at this time. He was just Tito Santana. He took on the then, at that moment, the undefeated also Executioner. Under that mask, of course, was Buddy Rose. Buddy Rose was playing the Executioner at WrestleMania 1. And this match was all right. Wasn't a great match. Wasn't a wonderful match. Wasn't an over-the-top match. Tito Santana eventually won it with a finger four leg lock. The Executioner and Tito Santana did interviews beforehand with Mean Gene Okerlund in the back. They each got a promo in before the match. The Executioner talked about taking out Tito's legs that had already been worked on by Greg the Hammer Valentine. But in the end, Tito Santana wins with a finger four. I gave the match 1 star. It wasn't anything special. It got this off. It was kind of mediocre. They did the introductions with both guys in the ring, so they didn't really get a ring music or an introduction of any type. At this time, it was, what it was. Not the best match, not the greatest match. It was an opening match. It did good. It got Tito Santana over the Executioner, who was here played by Buddy Rose. Buddy Rose has a lot to do with wrestling, and one of the legendary names, why he was under mask, I don't even know at this time, but that is what happened, and that's how that went. Next match, of course, between each match, we'd go to Lord Alfred Hayes. Lord Alfred Hayes would introduce the next components in the match, and then they'd go to the back scene where Gene Okerlund would interview both guys. It seemed like these were recorded earlier in the day. They'd come in, they'd talk with Mean Gene, they'd do a little promo and say what they needed to say, and then we get the match. So our next match would feature S.D. Jones, Special Delivery Jones, taking on the legend, the big man, King Kong Bundy, and Bundy had Jimmy Hart as his manager at this time. King Kong Bundy with Jimmy Hart in his corner. S.D. Jones, Special Delivery Jones. This match was nothing. It was nothing. Jones charged in at Bundy. Bundy grabbed him up, slammed him down, and in 9 seconds was the official time for this match. Bundy squashed S.G. Jones in 9 seconds. 2 or 3 count. They didn't do the infamous 5 count, but we got a 3 count. in 9 seconds. King Kong Bundy going over. Again, this was a 1-star match. There wasn't much to do. It was a quick squash. It was over before you even knew it began. It was a 9-second match. There was not a whole lot to tell there. I wish there was more to get you excited about, but it was just kind of a match that happened. Anyways, our next match, we went back for interviews, but we got Ricky Steamboat and Matt Bourne. Matt Bourne, an actually very talented wrestler that many people may look at as underrated. They did a Matt Bourne special on the Dark Side of the Ring. Go check that out sometime. But Matt Bourne, who some of the 90s generation or some people may know now better as Doink the Clown. The original Doink the Clown was played by Matt Bourne. Matt Bourne has played several characters. He was played a lumberjack in WCW where he came with 2 bears to the ring. I'm forgetting Big John, I think was his name, in WCW. Matt Bourne played several characters, was a really talented wrestler. Just never got to be a main star. Had a lot of personal issues, and unfortunately met an end that is kind of tragic. But Matt Bourne would be better known originally as the original Doink the Clown. But in this match, we had a really good match. Both these guys this was probably the really good match to start off this show. We had 2 other matches that were so-so, but this match is really good. Ricky Steamboat. They didn't refer to him the Dragon at this time, but Ricky Steamboat came off the top rope with a diving crossbody to get the win over Matt Bourne. I give this a 3-star. This is a really good match. This showed both these men's talent, both their capability. It was good to see Matt Bourne just as Matt Bourne, not having to play a character, going out there with Ricky Steamboat. It was really a good, enjoyable wrestling match. If you like wrestling, that's what you got with these two, and that's why I gave it 3 stars, because I thought it was a good wrestling match. There wasn't a lot of other chaos, weirdness, or anything else going into it. It was just a very, very good, solid wrestling match. From there, we go to the backstage where we get to talk to Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who was with his manager at this time, Johnny Valent. And, of course, his opponent for the night was going to be David Sammartino, the son of Bruno Sammartino. So we saw David Sammartino with his dad, Bruno Sammartino, in the back. They talk it up. They're selling the legend Bruno Sammartino. Bruno Sammartino at WrestleMania 1. Not wrestling in the ring, but there to support his son, David Sammartino. So Brutus Beefcake, and not the barber at this time. He was just Brutus Beefcake. He came out with a manager, Johnny Valent, and he took on David Sammartino. This match was, it was kind of a sleeper, dull match. It was what you get when you get Brutus Beefcake in the ring. David Sammartino, I'm sure was probably a pretty good wrestler for his stats, but these two were just not, it wasn't anything to talk about. Brutus Beefcake has just never been a great wrestler. He did what he needed to do here, but eventually what happened was Johnny Valent tried to interfere, and then Bruno Sammartino took out Johnny Valent, and then as he was wailing on Johnny Valent in the corner, Brutus Beefcake came behind Bruno Sammartino, hit Bruno Sammartino, then Bruno hit Beefcake, and then the whole thing fell into chaos. The match went down the poo-poo hole. It was no good. Eventually, the match ended in a WEQ because it was just chaos breakdown. Everybody was fighting everybody. It was a hot mess. This is a match that got 1 star because, well, I'll give it for what it was, a star. It was not a good match. It was nothing fancy. WrestleMania has not really given us many good, WrestleMania 1 at least, has not given us many good matches to start off with. But, other than the Ricky Steamboat Matt Bourne match, but this was another weird DQ match. I don't know what the purpose of it was. There was no background to any of these matches. They're just happening. It's WrestleMania 1. We're getting interviews. We're getting small segments, small stories, but not anything over the top. And Beefcake versus David Sammartino, was not a good match. Next, we move into the Intercontinental title match. Greg the Hammer Valentine with Jimmy Hart, who is your current, at this time, was the current Intercontinental Champion. He's taking on the Junkyard Dog, JYD. Yes, JYD getting an Intercontinental title shot here in this match. Greg the Hammer Valentine already in the ring with Jimmy Hart, showing off a green strap Intercontinental title belt. The very old classic green strap title match here, or the green strapped Intercontinental title was here around Hammer's waist. And then we get the first bit of music as JYD came out to music. It was hype. The crowd got really into it when JYD came out with his chain, came out to his music, sung his chain around. Everybody else ran out of the ring. JYD was hot. This was a decent match for these two guys. Hammer and JYD really put down a decent match. I won't say it's a great match. It's what you expect between these two types. JYD doing his things. He eventually got Hammer on the ground and doing the headbutts to the head. Classic JYD stuff. Eventually, what happened was Hammer was able to knock JYD down and get him rolled up for a pin. Hammer put his feet on the ropes, and we got a 1, 2, 3. The bell was wrong. Then at some point, somebody came in and pointed out to the referee that Hammer's feet were on the ropes. So the referee overturned his decision, restarted the match, told Greg the Hammer Valentine to get back in the ring. Greg the Hammer Valentine and Jimmy Hart just decided to walk away. They didn't seem like they wanted to get back in the ring. Eventually, it was a count out, and the match went to JYD. JYD gets a win by count out. This match may have gotten a little better stars if it would have ended differently, but because of the messed up finish with Hammer getting the messy pin and then restarting the match for whatever reason at WrestleMania to give JYD a count out, I don't know why you have a dirty pin into a count out. JYD doesn't get the Intercontinental title. Why did we restart the match? It wasn't very clear. It was very confusing. JYD gets a win. I give this 2 stars. Both men did what they needed to do. These are 2 lumbering men. If you've ever seen a Greg the Hammer Valentine match, you know what he's capable of. He's a good ground wrestler. JYD was more of just being JYD, the junkyard dog. You got to love what JYD did. He was a special type of character in his day and era. JYD, they had a special on Dark Side of the Ring about JYD. If you want to know more about Junkyard Dog, go check that out. But this was a very interesting, it was an interesting match, Intercontinental title match. WrestleMania 1, you give it 2 stars, and you say thank you for the attempt. Anyways, moving on, we had a tag team title match next. We had the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov with classy Freddie Blassie in their corner. They're acting as their manager. We got an interview with these two, your natural Volkov promo, and of course your Iron Sheik, your Sheiky baby promo. What do you expect from the Iron Sheik? You let him on a mic, and you know it's going to get real quick, real interesting. They're going to take on the tag team champions of Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. Yeah, Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda right now at WrestleMania 1, which was 1985. They were in WWE at this time. I believe they'd probably go to WCW shortly after this. And, of course, Mike Rotunda, if that name sounds familiar, and Barry Windham, they are family. Barry Windham being the name that was given to Mike Rotunda's son, Wyndham Rotunda, better known to the wrestling world these days as Bray Wyatt. Interesting connection that Bray Wyatt can be connected to WrestleMania 1. And Bray Wyatt is sorely going to be missed. But Mike Rotunda, Bray Wyatt's dad, Mike Rotunda would have been better known later on in WWE's IRS, Irwin R. Shyster. And, of course, Barry Windham would be around in and out of WWE at different times, bringing back his father's gimmick of the Blackjack Mulligans. And that was back in the day before this. But at this time, Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda are the tag team champions. They have Captain Lou Albano in their corner. And so we get a good solid match, as you expect, between some big names here. Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, Barry Windham, Mike Rotunda. These guys definitely put on a good match. There were some messes with Mike Rotunda's drop kicks on the Iron Sheik, which kind of took away from the match. But overall, it was a good, solid wrestling match. You got what you expect from all these names in this match. Eventually, we got a dirty finish as Iron Sheik blasts Barry Windham from behind with Blassie's cane. They get the pin, and we get new tag team champions. So you would think after the last match that somebody would tell the referee, hey, they cheated, let's restart the match. But no, Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov become your new tag team champions. I give this match 3 stars. It was a fairly good match with the talent you had in the ring. The finish was meh, but I guess, you got a great storyline. WrestleMania 1 being one of the first. But it was definitely a great time. And a good match, one of the better matches of the whole show in itself, in its entirety. It was good to see Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham out there. Always got to love when you see Sheiky, whether you love him or hate him. Sheiky was always an act in the ring. Nikolai Volkov, of course, sang the Russian national anthem. I think this is one of the few times he wasn't actually interrupted singing the anthem. Anyways, we got new tag team champions at this time. This was the Sheiks and Nikolai Volkov winning the tag team titles off of Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. Good, solid tag match. Then one of the big matches of the night, probably one of the big promoted matches of the night, probably one of the most remembered matches that people really want to look back at what happened at WrestleMania 1. We had the 15 $15,000 slam match. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Big John Studd challenged Andre the Giant to slam him. If Andre the Giant could slam Big John Studd would give Andre $15,000. If Andre was unable to slam a Big John Studd, he was going to be forced to retire from the world of professional wrestling. Big John Studd in the ring with his manager, Bobby the Brain Heenan, one of the greatest managers of all time, and probably one of the better commentators and voice personalities in the world of professional wrestling, whether he was working side by side with Vince McMahon or working side by side with Tony Schiavone or many, many of the other big names. When Bobby the Brain Heenan was on commentary, this was one of the greatest legends, one of the greatest minds in the world of professional wrestling. It was good to see Bobby Heenan here with Big John Studd. It was a $15,000 slam match. We got what you got from two big giants. Big John Studd up there around 7 foot. Of course, Andre about 7'4". You got about 800, 900 pounds in the ring in this match. And so it was you expected. Andre pulling out some big chops that would make almost Gunther blush. I mean, Andre's chops, you could hear them. Oh, mercifully. I don't know. But we got some great chops by Andre. We got a basic match here. Big John Studd tried to boot Andre, but Andre caught it. There was a funny moment there that happened. Eventually, Andre gets John Studd up in the position and slams him down on the mat. And your winner is Andre the Giant. He gets the $15,000, the bag of money. He starts flinging the money out into the crowd. And of course, Bobby the Brain Heenan jumps up, steals that small duffel bag of money, and runs off with it. But Andre the Giant gets his big win. I give this match 2 stars. It was a 2-star match. They did what they could do for two big men, but in the end, it was a great, entertaining match. Andre, gets over there, and we are happy to see Andre still got to stay in wrestling for a while longer. They call this the match, the slam heard around the world. I guess that would have been the initial slam around the world. It would be by Wrestlemania 3, where I think the biggest slammer heard around the world would happen. And maybe one day we'll get to talk about Wrestlemania 3. We shall see how that plays out. But for tonight, Andre the Giant has the slam heard around the world at Wrestlemania 1, picking up Big John Studd and slamming him to the ring, ladies and gentlemen. From there, we got the Wrestle Rock Connection match. Yes, the Wrestle Rock Connection match. It is for the ladies or the women's championship match. It was a WWE ladies or women's championship match. It was put out by Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura as the ladies championship match. I think even Howard Finkel introduced it as the ladies championship match, but all the graphics said it's the women's championship. So I don't know if this was a ladies championship, a women's championship, what the title was, but neither doesn't matter. So we got Leilani Kai with Fabulous Mua in her corner as the defending women's champion against Wendy Richter, and Wendy Richter had Cyndi Lauper in her corner. So Leilani Kai came out with Moolah to the ring, and then Wendy Richter, coach, came out to music with Cyndi Lauper, David Wolf, this whole cast. It was a decent match. It was not a pretty match. It was not the best match of the night. There was some missed opportunities here, a few couple botches. But eventually, Leilani Kai, and this is kind of where it went bad. Leilani Kai jumped off the top rope for a high cross body, and Wendy Richter kind of rolled through it, like they landed it with Leilani Kai on top, but Wendy Richter didn't push, and I don't know what bad timing here or what happened. It was not pretty. It did not look good. It didn't go over probably the way they wanted it to, but we'll forgive them because it's WrestleMania 1. Wendy Richter's able to roll Leilani Kai over, get the pin. 1, 2, 3. We have a new champion. Wendy Richter and Cyndi Lauper celebrate in the middle of the ring with the title, and Wendy Richter is now the champion. I gave the match 2 stars. It was a decent match. It was okay. There was some falsies in the match, and it was not that great, but it was better than some of the 1-star matches that they've given out tonight, so we'll give it 2 stars. Anyways, that was time for the main event of WrestleMania 1. One of the most talked about main events in WrestleMania history. You can't talk about WrestleMania main events without talking about this match. Of course, before the match ever got started, we got a special guest announcer in New York Yankees former manager, New York well-known famous celebrity, Billy Martin. He came down into the ring announcing. Guest timekeeper was Liberace. Liberace came down with the Rockettes. They did a little dance in the middle of the ring. And then the special guest referee, the outside referee, as it was later announced, the one, the only, the legendary, the late, the great, the one who flies like a butterfly and stings like a bee. Because, baby, he's great. You'll know who he is, the one, the only, Muhammad Ali. Oh, yes. Muhammad Ali was there as a acting ref. Of course, he became the outside ref for the match. The actual ref for the match, the in-the-ring ref, was Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson acting as the referee for this main event. So from there, we got the main event coming out to the drums and the bagpipes and a big pomp and circumstance ceremony. The one, the only, the legendary, the late, the great, Roddy Piper. And he was teaming up with Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. And of course, they had Cowboy Bob Orton in the corner. Cowboy Bob Orton at this time had the cast on his arm, which will play a pivotal role later on in the match. Their opponents, of course, that infamous music hit, I Wanna Be. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Hulk Hogan, and tonight he's teaming up with Mr. T, and they've got the super fly Jimmy Snuka in their corner, and you get a Hulk Hogan match with Mr. T. A lot of great stuff here. They made Mr. T look decent. Roddy Piper out here. You've heard a lot if you've ever researched, been around wrestling. You hear the stories about this match. It is a decent match. You get what you get from a Roddy Piper, a Hogan, and Mr. T. You put these names in the ring. You got what you got out of this match. Eventually, Cowboy Orton goes up and accidentally hits Orndorff with his cast when they were trying to hit Hogan with it. Orndorff goes down. Hogan pins Orndorff. 1, 2, 3. Hogan and Mr. T get the big win. Roddy Piper and Cowboy Bob Orton leave the ring. Paul Orndorff breaks up eventually. He's confused about what happened. He's pissed off. But overall, we got a decent match. We got a pretty good match. We got, I give it 3 stars. You know, we got Roddy Piper, we got Hogan, we got Mr. Wonderful. You got what you expected from Mr. T. We got shenanigans to make this match work out. A lot of interesting controversy about this match as always. You can go back and listen to interviews about Piper in this match. You can listen to Hogan and talking about this match. You know, most of everybody in this match wound up being a Hall of Famer with the WWE. Piper's a Hall of Famer. Mr. Orndorff's a Hall of Famer. Cowboy Bob Orton's a Hall of Famer. Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, Superfly Jimmy Snuka. All these guys got to be WWE Hall of Famers. They're Hall of Famers in all types of different places, I'm sure. And this was WrestleMania 1. It was built around Hulk Hogan. It was built around the Roddy Piper match. It was what you expect. If you go back and watch it, it feels very outdated. You really look at it and go, wow, this is where we were in 1985, and this is what set the standard barrier for what would become known as WrestleMania, what would become known as a yearly tradition in WrestleMania. Like it says right behind me, WrestleMania 1 set the groundwork, and now we're up to WrestleMania 40, so 40 years, or 39 years later, 40 years later, here we are, 39 years, yeah. Here we are, ready for WrestleMania 40 next year, live from Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, WrestleMania 40. What a treat we're going to get, where we started and where we are today, 40 years. It's amazing to think that these have been around doing this and always continuing to grow. Now, some WrestleManias have been really good, some WrestleManias have been really bad. This was your mediocre WrestleMania. I'd probably give it 2 stars as an overall show. Probably not one of your better WrestleManias. You know, you have to enjoy it for what it is, for the era, for being the first. You know, it was a different thing. I think WrestleMania 2, they really brought a whole lot more into it. And maybe someday we'll review WrestleMania 2, and we'll talk all about that. But tonight, it's WrestleMania 1. It's the original one. It's the first one. And, man, what a show it was. You know, if you like wrestling for what it is, if you can accept to go back and enjoy in retrospect about a 2-hour, 60-minute event on the Peacock, the WWE Network, however you see, you know, what used to be the WWE Network, definitely go check out WrestleMania 1. You know, but take it with it knowing what it is, that it is the first, that it is not a polished, fine tool as you see, you know, today's WrestleMania is, because it's way more polished. It's way more pomp and circumstances. This first one was an event. It was your show. They, you know, they built everything probably around a couple of these main matches, that you saw in the end, a Big John Studd versus Andre the Giant, the women's title match, and of course Hulk Hogan, Mr. T versus Roddy Piper, Paul Orndorff was the biggest build for WrestleMania when it was what everything was bet on. And it did what it needed to do, and now we look at the WrestleMania tradition, and we always can't wait for what next year is going to bring. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I am the Big Time. I appreciate you for joining me on Flashback Wrestling, where we review previous wrestling events, discuss them, talk about them, tell you what happened. I give you a review, how I felt it went. Drop your comments down below if you think there's something I missed, or if you think, if you disagree with me and think this was a great event or just terrible, or however you may feel, you're welcome to drop your comments down below. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. Just remember to be nice, be kind. No reason to be rude, no reason to be hateful. We can all agree to disagree. You can have a different opinion. That's perfectly fine. We're not going to, say you have to agree with us. If you have a total different opinion, that is fine. Just be friendly, be respectful in how you share your opinion, because that's all we ask here. Also, if you're here and this is your first time, or you're a new viewer to the value of wrestling, and you like this content, and you like any of the other content on this page, please go ahead and subscribe. We are working our way to hopefully getting to 1,000 viewers, and we need each and every one of you and your subscriptions to do that. Helps us grow, helps us get out in the algorithm. Make sure you hit that like button, because that'll really get us out there. And if you like this program, share it out with your friends, family, and anybody else you know that likes the world of professional wrestling, or anybody who has liked wrestling, that likes the old stuff. That's what we're going to start doing. I'm the Big Time. This is the Value Wrestling. I'm going to get out of here now and get on to other things. But until the next time, I'm going to tell you good night and see you then.